Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we are going to be reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And I'm going to apologize because I'm using Angel Island Revisited because there isn't an actual mobile port for Sonic 3. And yeah, I know I'm basically breaking the law of like putting mods in my videos, but I don't really have that much of a choice, so I'm gonna play this instead. There's also a lot to go through in this video, so let's get into it. So I don't really know where to start with this game because this game is really big. It has a lot of content, a lot of playable characters. It has a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna start with the story. And yes, in my other videos, I said I don't really care about story in Sonic games, and, well, I still go by that, but the story in this game actually, goes through in the cutscenes, because there's actually cutscenes now. It's mostly, going to the next zone, because, from Angel Island Zone, you go to Hydrocity Zone, and then but the cutscenes are pretty good. It shows Knuckles trying to mess with you, defeating Eggman. And I'm not gonna do Sonic 3 and then do Sonic and Knuckles for my next review. I'm just gonna do Sonic 3 and Knuckles for all of this review because I just don't feel like splitting it into two videos. Because this is supposed to be one game, not two games. There was originally gonna be a Sonic 3 mobile port, but for copyright reasons, they couldn't do it because the music was copyrighted. So yeah, but I mean, there are some ways you can still play it on mobiles at least. So just the one I'm playing right now. Now we're gonna talk about the playable characters. And I was going to start with Sonic, but I think we should start with Tails first, because he worked differently than he did in Sonic 2. So, in Sonic 2, Tails literally was basically a reskin of Sonic, but he had a much smaller hitbox, so basically he was just an inferior Sonic. But in this game, Tails can actually fly now. And that is pretty useful because when I was younger, Tails used to be the most overpowered Sonic character, one of my favorites, because he can literally just fly over the whole level, and he made it a lot easier. But if you've never played a Sonic game before, I suggest playing as Tails because he makes levels a lot easier. Also, Tails has some sections dedicated to him, so you can just fly in some parts, and that's only for Tails, which is pretty cool. Now Sonic has his Insta Shield, and Sonic didn't have any abilities in Sonic 2, so he just had the spin dash, because it was from that game. But not every character has an ability, which is pretty good. But people say that the Insta Shield is pretty useful, but in my opinion, I don't think it's all that useful. I mean, it's good for bosses, but for the actual levels, I don't really see myself using it in the actual levels. And they should have kept the peel out from Sonic CD, and while on the CD version, it didn't really, it was basically the spin dash, but just out of ball form. But in the newer versions, the peel out's a lot faster. So they could have just done the peel out, but faster. Sonic's campaign is the main attraction for this game because it's called Sonic 3 for a reason. And yeah, there's a lot going on. This game has a really big story. Everything's bigger about this game. Also, there are some Sonic animations in this game, if you look closely, that the animations actually are some of the ones from Sonic 2. I guess it wasn't finished. Now for the new character from Sonic 3 is Knuckles. So Knuckles' abilities are just him gliding, climbing walls, and Knuckles used to be like one of my favorite characters to use, but I mean, now he isn't my favorite anymore, but yeah, he's pretty good. But to confiscate with that, he has a lower jump, so if you try and jump, he won't go as high as Sonic and Tails. And Knuckles, like, was the protector of the Master Emerald, and he was really strong. Knuckles' gliding and climbing walls animation is pretty good, because I think he was the main attraction of this game, because like he was a new Sonic character to the series, so he's supposed to be like the highlight of this game. It's also sad that now Knuckles doesn't really get like any big attraction. I mean, I guess now like the Sonic movies did him pretty good. Like in Sonic 2, he was pretty good as one of the main characters. And in the upcoming Sonic 3, it looks like he's being treated the same. But Knuckles got bodied by Shadow though. It was insane. But I don't think Shadow should just be like more like stronger than Knuckles, because in the trailer, it looks like he just defeated Knuckles so easily. But anyways, Sonic has a new form in this game, and it's Hypersonic. And Hypersonic, in order to unlock Hypersonic, you need to collect all the 14 emeralds. And I don't really like that because the special stages in this game aren't really that fun, but we'll get to the special stages later. The only difference between Supersonic and Hypersonic is that, well, Hypersonic has like this air dash thing. Well, I call it the homing attack, but it wasn't really called that back then, so basically the air dash. And I thought this was pretty useful throughout all the levels, like using Hypersonic, so yeah, that's a pretty good ability for Hypersonic. Also in this game, Knuckles does have a super form, and I think he has a hyper form, but Tails does not turn super in this game. But I mean, I guess it's because he can fly, or well, he's just OP character in general. But at least in Sonic Mania, you can actually turn super as Tails, and at least there aren't 14 emeralds for you to collect. But I'll save that for the Sonic Mania review. So what I've talked about so far is the story, the characters, and the super and hyper forms. Now I'm going to talk about the presentation and like what the levels are and what they like look like. Well, I'm obviously not going to talk about like every single level because this game has 14 zones. And there's no way I'm going to run through all of that. This game looks amazing. Like all the characters look good in the environments, and everything in the environments look good. The foreground, the background, everything looks good. All the enemies look good. Everything looks good in this game. This game looks way better than Sonic 2 did, and that game looks pretty good. And it just adds to more like style, you know. There's also a lot of details about this game. There's a lot more animations for all the characters. And everything about this game, it just looks good. A big step up from Sonic 2 in terms of like what the game looks like. But I'm gonna still talk about some of the zones in this game. And also, I do not like Marble Zone. Marble Zone is not a good zone. You get lost in the zone, like, or I get lost in the zone. And this zone is just, it's not fun. Act 1 and Act 2 are just both bad. And yeah, there isn't any moments where you can just blast off at top speed. So, yeah. Okay, so Lava Reef. This zone is, I actually like this zone, but the music of this zone is amazing. I really love the music in this zone. It's like one of my favorites in the Sonic series. And I'm also really glad that this zone had a remix in Sonic Mania, and it sounded amazing. Like, it was really cool. But now we're gonna talk about the zone itself. In terms of the level design, this zone is meh. I mean, Act 1's pretty good. I actually liked Act 1. But the level design of Act 1 wasn't really that good, because you had to press like these buttons in order to like get out the like room. And I really love that, like, it actually feels like you're in a cave, you know, in Lava Reef. Like, it actually feels like you're going through it instead of just going through a bunch of loop-de-loops and stuff. Anyways, for Act 2, this level is not good for Sonic and Knuckles. I mean, Tails does have different routes, but he basically plays the same level as Sonic, so not much difference there. And as you can see in the footage, I'm playing as Knuckles here. And I'm pretty sure there's like a different route in the level, and you can see like a completely different part of the level. And that's cool and all, but this level is just not fun. It focuses a lot on platforming, which is basically this whole zone. And I'm not saying platforming is bad, I'm just saying that like it's just used way too much in the zone. It's like it's not even any moments where you go fast. It just feels like you're in a puzzle, you know? And Lava Reef, like the crystals of Act 2, like it like changes colors and it looks really good, not gonna lie. So the devs did pretty good there. The art style of this game, and yes, it does look like the other games, it just looks way better and it just really looks good to look at. And back to Lava Reef, I just feel like this zone just has a lot of potential, but I don't know, it's just like the music is good and like like how it looks is good, but it just loses like a lot of points because it's just no speed in it at all. Like, I don't get it. And there's Sky Sanctuary, which is pretty good zone. And it only has one act, because I don't get this, but in Sonic Superstars, some of the zones have like one act. And people complained about that, but Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 had one act zones. And nobody complained about that, but who knows, probably just biased. To be honest though, I'm surprised that this level of all levels in Sonic 3 Knuckles is the one that made it into Sonic Generations, because this level only just has one act and it just goes on. It just goes forever. And I like how this level actually has like speed and platforming too, so that's good. There's 3 bosses in this zone, well, this act, and I mean, I guess that makes up for it being one act, but as long as the zone is fun, then I'm okay with it being one act. And the first boss is the Wrecking Ball boss from Sonic 1, so they aren't unique bosses, but it's fun though. It gets the job done. And the second boss is the one from Metropolis Zone from Sonic 2. And the final boss of this zone is Mecha Sonic. And then it ends with Sonic running to the Death Egg, I think, and yeah, that's the zone. Okay, so Carnival Night Zone. I really like this zone. I think this zone's pretty good. It has speed, platforming, but this level is a little bit on the gimmickier side, and that might sound weird to you guys because it's just a pinball stage basically. But like, there's just like some like times that you're just going fast, and then there's just these bumpers that just immediately stop you. I find that pretty annoying. And yes, I know that was in Sonic 2 sometimes, but at least it wasn't as annoying there. And I find this level to just like go through in general. And yeah, this level doesn't break the pace, it's not slow, it isn't just focused on platforming the whole time, it is just focused on one thing. It's fun, I like this level. This zone is a good break from Marble Zone, which was the previous zone before this, so yeah. And I'm not going to go through every single zone like I said earlier. So if I miss a zone, it's not because I forgot it, it's just because I'm not going to go through every single zone in this game. And in the zone, there are like these spinny things that you have to press up and down in order to like fly up. And I find this gimmick to be pretty weird, but it looks cool, like Sonic and Tails just rotating. That's kind of cool. And before we talk about some of the other things that are in this game, we're going to talk about the special stages. So yes, earlier in this video I said I didn't really like the special stages as much, but I mean they are a pretty cool idea because like Sonic is in a 3D room where he has to like collect these blue spheres, and if you get the red ones then you'll immediately lose the stage and you can't get a Chaos Emerald. But I just don't think these stages are really that fun, to be honest. Because like they just feel like they just take away a lot of like fun things that are in the gameplay that you'd much rather be doing. And doing these special stages, it's just not fun. And I mean, I know a lot of people like these stages, so this might be a hot take. But I mean, it's a cool idea, but it's just not the best execution, you know? And since there are more Chaos Emeralds in this game, you have to do these special stages 14 times because there's the Chaos Emeralds and the Super Emeralds that you have to collect in order to complete the game. Or if you want 100% the game. So now for Flying Battery. And Flying Battery it's a cool stage and like concept because you're on like this like ship or something, and I think the like all these stages all look good and stuff. The ideas are good. It's just all good, you know. But I just don't like the level design as much in the stage. I mean, it's not bad. I think it's better than some of the other zones like Lava Reef and stuff. But there are just some bottomless pits that if you just like fall in, then you're just immediately dead. But I'm not against not having bottomless pits because it can cause some difficulty instead of putting them everywhere like Sonic Advance 2. And the other unique thing about this game is that it has elemental shields. And these are just like, there's only 3 of them. And there's the fire shield, there's the electric shield, and there's the bubble shield. And all of these are pretty useful in their own ways. But I do think Flying Battery is like an okay zone. I don't really like it as much, but it's a cool zone for what it is. And also for the official way to play it, the Genesis version of this game is basically very similar to the one I'm playing here. It's just a fan game that has like a lot of options for stuff. So just like Sonic the Hedgehog 2, this game's Genesis version is good to play, and yeah, I suggest playing the original Genesis version if you have it, or you can just play an emulator, you know. Alright, so the bosses of this game are just like, they're okay. They're not like that good, like as good as Sonic 1 and 2's bosses, but they're pretty unique though, and they have some pretty good ideas. Another different thing from Sonic 1 and 2 is that you actually have a boss for every single act. And this may sound cooler because you get to see Eggman more, but it causes the pacing to be uneven because some of the bosses are just quick traditional bosses and I just like quick bosses. But some of the bosses just like drag on for too long and I just don't really like it, and I just prefer like seeing Eggman after like the end of the zone than just like every single act, because it just starts getting annoying, especially in the Sonic and Knuckles half. This boss right here in Mushroom Hill looks pretty cool because like you can kind of see the 3D in it, because the spikes like are like basically like 3D, and the blocks are 3D, and it looks pretty good in 3D. Like there should be like a 2.5D Sonic game, but uses 2D sprites for like the characters. That would have been cool. Maybe the idea should just be for a future Sonic game, but who knows. And also, there's a competition mode, and the physics are kind of wonky there if you play the original Genesis version. And now we're going to talk about Launch Base. And this level is really good, especially Act 2, because this has a lot of fast moments, good, decent amount of platforming, and I like a lot more speed in my Sonic games. I never really liked platforming that much in Sonic games, which may sound like a surprise to you all, but it's true. And the reason why I really like this zone is just that the level design here is really good. It's really fun to play through, and it doesn't have like bad level design. It's just a fun way throughout, and I really like that. Another thing that I like about this level is how in this level you actually feel like you're in like a world here. Like the background moves along with you, and when you go underwater in this level, you can actually see in the background that it moves along with you. Like, I mean, well, look at this. Like, you can see that you're underwater in the background. And yes, I know it's in Hydrosity Zone, but it just looks a lot better in this zone than it did in that zone. So yes, good job to the devs there. And now for Mushroom Hill. And this level is really good. It's really fun all throughout. People say that the Sonic and Knuckles half doesn't really have that much good levels, and I can agree with that because this is probably the only good level there, not gonna lie, in my opinion. Because this level, it's just, it kind of feels like a Green Hill Zone, but it doesn't at the same time. So yeah, this is a pretty good opening for the Sonic and Knuckles half, because you couldn't even play as Tails in the Sonic and Knuckles half of this game. And I really like this zone. And yeah, pretty much all I have to say about it. Okay, so Sandopolis. This zone sucks. I don't really like it. I mean, Act 1 isn't really that bad. It just has, like, it has pretty good music. Not surprising, though, since it's a Sonic game. But Act 2 is not good. This level's way too long, and I hate the ghost gimmick, and it's not a fun level. I really don't like this level. I mean, there are little speed sections in this level, but they're only little, so you're not really going fast at all in this level, really. And I might be the only one that really says this about this zone, but when this, like, when the level gets dark, the characters actually glow a lot more. Because the characters in the darker environment actually looks better than in the light. But that might be only my opinion. But anyways, the last zone is the Doomsday Zone, if you get all the Chaos Emeralds. So it starts off with like Sonic like destroying these rocks, boulders, or whatever they are, and then Eggman's like shooting rockets at Sonic, and then you need to dodge them, and you need to collect rings while it's happening. And then once you get closer to Eggman, you need to fire the rockets directly to Eggman's head on the spaceship or whatever Eggman's riding on. And it does feel kind of janky to move around because Sonic just feels locked. Like, it's really hard to like move around in this state. But I don't know, that might just be me. Alright guys, so that's all for today's review and video, and I will see you guys in the next video, so have a good day. Bye.